Welcome to RGB, your weekly podcast where we discuss the latest technology news, cool gadgets, product reviews, new apps, and great workflows. This is episode number 6. My name is Alexandre Vallière-Lagacé, and I'm joined by my co-host, Tyler Ménard. This week, we sunset smart devices, we expand and compress offers, imagine the Apple car, and take a trip down memory lane for the 40th anniversary of the Fruit Company.
So we have a little bit of follow-up from our last show. So we talked a bit last show about joining AppKit and UIKit together to make a development, to make it easier for developers. And Brent, the day we released the show, Brent Simon wrote a nice post and he was explaining all the differences between UI and AppKit and basically saying it's never going to happen. So I don't know what you think about it.
Well, never is a big word. I haven't read the whole post, so I cannot really ponder on the details, but anything Apple as a company making software and hardware can do to bridge the gap between two different devices will make transition from one to the other much easier for the developers, and in the end have more apps. Of course, transition will go from old Mac developers to iOS because iOS is much more popular in terms of developing platforms. So maybe it will not be the exact same thing, but I'm pretty sure eventually we'll have some common concepts and you will be able to quickly grasp the difference between one and the other and how to go from the desktop platform to the mobile platform.
There's a lot of things that I wasn't thinking about at all, like the menu, all the menu on Mac that we don't have on iOS, resizing of the application. You can't do that on iOS either. So it's all stuff that iOS developers would have to take in charge, when making Mac apps.
Well, for the resizing part, you've got the
auto layout.
Yeah, that is not the same thing, but very close.
Right.
And if done well and not buggy, could be used for any size of window. The menus, you can see some very simple apps nowadays. For example, Friends, which is a app where you log in your different social apps like Facebook Messenger, Telegram, Skype. All those are kind of tabs in the same app, so you don't actually have like 12 social media apps open in the same time. And it's like a Mac app, which is basically just a wrapper around some web components. And it does have a menu, but like the very, very minimal, like file edit and help and window, which are kind of the default menus. So what we're not going to see probably is very complex menus from iOS developers going to the Mac platform. But more and more, it's always in the interactions. So, and these developers never had menus to hide some functionality. So it's always what you see on the screen has to give you some hints on the usability of your app and how to actually do the actions. So it's a different paradigm, but I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be blocking developers from doing the shift. So after that, we had a little news from Nest. Nest, the company that Google acquired, making the smart Nest thermostat and the smart smoke detectors.
Yep.
They actually purchased Revolve, which is a company that was making kind of a smart hub, kind of like Apple TV will eventually be for HomeKit. I'm not sure if they purchased that before or after the Google acquisition.
I think it was before.
Before, okay. And they just basically announced that they're going to sunset it like rapidly and once and for all. So starting May 15th. So you have basically a month left to use it. And there's no like plans to transfer or somebody else to pick up where they leave. It's really like done and done.
No, you're going to end up with a $300 brick.
Yep, a nice one. And at the same time, there was some talks on Reddit from a one of the engineers. Um, well, he starts that he won't say any numbers that aren't public, but you get from his comment that is about 5 paragraphs long. Basically, the company is not doing fine. The acquisition from Google was a good thing, but ended up not being a good thing because they were pushing too much, not having enough resources, and making some unrealistic demands to their engineer teams. And basically, every month or every week, more and more people were leaving the company, even though they had like a great package if they were staying with Google for X numbers of months or years. So yeah, basically, this is not looking very good for the company, and they're also saying that they have 340 millions in revenues, and $500 million budget.
So that doesn't work.
That doesn't work. Yeah, no new products since the purchase, and sales numbers are dire. So they don't have any more people buying their stuff. It's not growing as they were hoping it would. Basically, Google gave them a bunch of money, but they're not going anywhere else. So
I feel like the whole home automation, smart home the whole market is bad, no?
well, it's complicated because too many players want their solution to be the good one, and not enough integration with the other players.
Yeah.
So we have Belkin, who does the Wemo line. They're a pretty cool device, but either they have like their own app, or you need even multiple apps. If you have the Wi-Fi cameras, it's an app. If you have the smart switch, it's another app. So that's a pain. And then you have like other players like Elgato, who has a few devices like that, very similar to Belkin's. They have its own stuff, but these put Elgato as the HomeKit compatibility, so you can use Siri. And then on the other spectrum, you have Amazon and its little Alexa speaker that is actually very open, and you can actually like integrate with a bunch of other services through IFTTT. So this idea of being open looks to me like the more promising way, because if you look at what works with Amazon, it's almost everything, and what works with HomeKit, almost nothing. So
And
different technologies,
same thing,
different
Philips also.
Yeah.
And they're all trying, like, if you're a manufacturer of bulbs or anything, you have to make your product work with all these different standards. We need to just make one standard, and it'd be easier on all the manufacturers of products.
Yeah, but the problem with standards is if everyone wants a new standard,
Yeah.
and then we end up with 13 new standards.
Nobody wants to decide.
Exactly.
There's a good KCD about that.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I had in mind. So the market is pretty dynamic. So right now it's still evolving and changing. I'm thinking that we're only seeing the beginning of this whole home automation thing. So it's still in flux. For example, Philips, who were kind of the first with the smart bulbs, they were working fine with their own app. But then what happens is that Apple brings out HomeKit, and HomeKit, one of the requirements, apart from the software side, is that you need a special chip on the hardware side. So of course, Philips, having their bulbs on the market, cannot be compatible. So what they did is that they released a second generation of the hub to be compliant. So same bulbs, you don't throw away your bulbs, you keep them, and now you can use the hub with the HomeKit integration. So that's a good thing. If you really need HomeKit, you can change your hub. But most of the other components like Wemo, it's cool because they don't have any hub, but they're not HomeKit compatible, and they will never be. So you're kind of screwed if you were expecting that like a software update would add the feature. Do you have anything on your side that you are using in the home automation?
No, nothing yet. I wanted to buy Philips bulbs, but it's a pain to always start them from your phone. You have to buy a separate switch that you have to stick on the wall, and it's ugly. And I know I'm gonna use Siri, or I can use it on my watch or my phone, but other people in the house won't start taking out their phones to just open a bulb.
Yeah, but at least Philips Philips has a solution for that. I have for my front lights for outside. I replaced the wall switch with the Wemo switch, smart switch, so that the lights go on on sunset, and they go down on sunrise. So I don't ever have to forget about my lights outside like that.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing because it's replacing the actual like on-off switch. So that's cool, and adds the smart capability from my phone. I can flip them on or off from anywhere in the world. But the other Wemo product, like the smart switch that you plug your lamp in, for example,
Yeah.
if that little button on it is off,
You can't
then
turn
you
it
have
on.
you can't turn it off. You can't turn it on, so you have to like actually take out your phone and do it. So that's totally pain. So at least Philips, they have their little switch on that you put on the wall that can do the same thing. So
But it's the same thing, Philips. If you have to leave the lights open, like you have to leave the switch, the old switch on the wall, you have to leave it open.
yep.
And then you just have this stupid remote control that you have to stick on the wall or leave it on the counter table or something.
Yeah, this is just proving to me that it's still very young and not matured. So eventually, we'll be able to replace our habits with something that is adding new features, but not removing old features.
Yeah. Don't you have the lock, the front door lock too?
Not anymore. You know why?
Because it wasn't safe.
No, it was safe.
The winters?
Not the winters. It wasn't that. It was just my wife had an old iPhone,
Okay.
and it was not Bluetooth 4, so she had the little dongle on her
Keychain?
on her keychain, yeah. But after maybe like 2 months, the battery was dying, and it's in CR1616 or something. It's a weird battery that you have to get on eBay from China. So it takes like 3 weeks to get here, or you go to the store and you pay like $14 for the battery. So it wasn't very practical. So and the color was wrong. So she always said that she never liked it because of the color. So the deadbolt was actually like a darker gray than the handle just below. So that color shift was getting on her nerves.
That must have been
So
awful.
Yeah, it wasn't that well from the street. It was not. It's not like if it was gold and gray. It's two grays, but it's not the prettiest thing. And there's like a little plastic thing around it also, which is like a gray plastic, which wasn't super pretty. So yeah. Anyways, so this one's out. The only real thing I still use, like I said, is the outside lights. I have one smart switch, which is basically just always on, and we open the light with the knob as usual. And for some of movie nights, I have a Wemo light strip attached to the base of my TV furniture, so that it casts a yellowish warm color on the ground.
You and your yellow colors.
Yeah,
Yellow lights.
Yeah, night shift all the way, and my little lights dead strips.
Yeah. But it doesn't work with like the TV shows or movies you have around. It doesn't.
Nope.
The
No,
colors don't change or nothing. No.
No. And there's actually like a long, like I would say like 1.5 to 2 seconds delay when I change the color myself manually. So it's not made to be like dynamic and
Okay.
go with the movie theme. So there was also a little debacle with Text Expander over the last 2 weeks.
I don't think we talked about it in the last show. It didn't happen yet.
No.
Right?
Yeah, no, I think it came up the next day.
Okay.
So basically, Text Expander is a Mac application which lets you quickly type shortcuts or fill forms with very practical shortcut actions. So let's say you reply to multiple emails, you do some supports for an app, for example, and I'll usually respond similar stuff like maybe 10 or 20 times a day. Instead of keeping yourself like a little text files and copy pasting every time, you can create some smart shortcuts with parameters which you launch, enter the parameters, and it will generate you the text that you need inside the app directly. So it's an app. I think it costs like $40 for the app. People liked it. Very popular. Smile Software is a very old Mac developer, respected. People like it. But then, all of a sudden, they decided to change their pricing model. Instead of being a one-time payment for the app, it basically just changed to be a subscription, which accounted to, I think, was $40 per year. So the most people were not buying the app every year. So to retain the same kind of app, they would have to pay $40 per year. And also, if they decided not to pay, keep the old app as is, they would eventually lose the Dropbox sync. So the app itself can store its library, if you want, on your Dropbox, and you can share it on 2 computers or more. But then that Dropbox sync is going away, and they're offering their own in-house built sync system, but only to subscribers. So people don't really like changes of plan like that, especially when something they have is removed. So there was a big explosion of response on
Negative
Twitter.
feedback.
Yeah, negative feedback. Do you use a text expander?
No, I don't have any. It's like a little snippet thing.
Yeah.
Like text snippets. I don't use anything except in my text editor at work. And the problem too is they offered a new version with the new payment model, everything, but no real new features or anything nice and shiny to make people switch.
Yeah, usually when people change their pricing model is they reserve a new special feature that people really want, and they offer it only on the subscription model. Take an example, 1Password. Yeah. You pay for the app. You can pay for the app once and you're done, and that's okay. But they also have a subscription service where you can share your vaults across your family or your workplace, and this is a fixed number of dollars per month or per year per user. So that's perfect. You still have your 1Password as you always had on your computer, but if you want something more, you pay more. Makes sense. But in the case of Smile Software, is that you already had something great that was syncing over Dropbox, that you're going to lose the Dropbox sync, and then to get that feature back, you have to pay more than you were probably paying, because I don't think everybody was paying the app $40 every year. So it looks like they're trying to increase their revenues, which is not a bad thing. It's just that it was a mishap on their part, thinking that they could probably remove a feature and then people would agree and to pay the new price.
So they announced this. There was a bunch of negative feedback on Twitter and everywhere, reviews and everything. And I think it was a day or two later, they Smile Software tweeted saying, "We've listened to all the feedback, and we have a change of plan or whatever. Something is going to change. We'll get back to you soon." And I think, and then a couple of days later again, so maybe 5 days after the release of their new payment subscription model, they announced that they were making it cheaper for existing customers. And I think they were adding, what did they add? They added a feature that was...
Yeah, so the new amount is $20 per year.
Right.
So instead of having to subscribe...
It's half off.
And pay the full price of the app itself every year, it's half off. And they were offering that discount only for the first year.
Oh, okay.
But now it's forever.
Okay, so that's what they added.
Yeah, exactly. So lifetime discount of 50% of the pricing for any past version. So existing users will only have to pay $20 per year instead of $40 for forever. And they will continue to support and sell the Text Expander 5 for OS X and Text Expander 3 and custom keyboard for iOS. If you want to only use Dropbox or iCloud, it will still work. That's what I think.
And there's a reason they switched to iCloud as well.
Well, some people say that it's probably because enterprise software don't really like
Dropbox.
Having their data stored on somebody else's servers, that they're not accountable for what can happen to the hosting. Because Dropbox, they basically say in their terms and conditions, whatever happens to your data, we're not responsible. Right. So, and with Smile, maybe they have a different legal gibberish that says they are more enterprise friendly. So that could be one solution. But yeah, so basically they changed. You're still gonna have to pay if you wanna hop on their own in-house syncing service. But $20 per year, it's much more reasonable, even for people who like just slightly use the application. And then the good folks from DisplayMate, it's a website where they usually test the displays of devices. They have like pretty extensive tooling and software and hardware to look at the color gamut and the display spectrum and the intensity, color accuracy, everything from A to Z on the new device, on the device they test. And they tested the new iPad Pro 9.7-inch screen. It's, from what they say, is it's actually the best screen Apple has ever made. It's 20% brighter. It's the color reproduction is amazing. It's the same DCI-P3 as the new 5K and 4K IMAX. So that's pretty amazing that in such a short time, the technology from the big, super huge screen got down to a small enough form factor that they fit a 9.7-inch iPad.
Did you see it in person yet?
Not yet. I'm still waiting for my review unit, so hopefully I should get this very soon and be able to do Night Shift and True Tone at once.
I'm not sure if they're in the stores yet, but I may pass by this weekend to go see.
Yeah, they should be there. So something interesting for us developers, and especially you, who's doing more and more iOS development.
Yep.
There's actually something going on that Google may be considering Swift to be the new programming language replacing Java on future Android versions.
Yeah, so they made a pull request on the GitHub since Swift is now open source. Google employees made a pull request to merge into, adding the Android part into Swift so they can use it full time as well. I think you're the one that said that Google's not exactly happy with Oracle and Java and how that's handled.
Yeah, because Oracle is known to acquire stuff and then do a 180 degree on what was like understood as the way to use that technology. And Java was pretty well. Sun Microsystem, the one behind Java, are actually quite liberal with their software since the beginning. So people could use Java and they could like basically run it with a virtual machine on an Android device, and Sun was not even bothered by that. So Oracle acquired Java, and they wanted to restrict the use of it to be much more concentrated to real business partners, like enterprise partners. So what they were trying to do is actually get more money from Google, because Google is rich and Oracle always wants more money. So what Google had to do, they had to remove the virtual machine from Android and create their own open source one. But they're still in court. There's still some problems like that. So why not consider something different for the sake of the platform for the future? And Swift being open source, they could just basically add some functionality to it, like they're currently doing. They did a pull request and they added some features. And then once everything is in there for the basis, they can just recode the whole API, and then you could have like an Android Swift version.
Since iOS is using so much of a UI kit, and if you want to make Android apps, you have to use all the Google APIs. You couldn't share that much code anyways, but it's just the same language would help.
Yeah, but I don't think the UI kit and stuff is open sourced.
No.
You have the header files that you can see, so you can see what methods are there, but you cannot like have access to the whole iOS code. So basically what Google would do is they would, like they're doing right now, add some basic functionality to the language itself that it's missing for them, and then they will have to hire a bunch of engineers and just recode the whole API by hand using Swift, so that developers could then in Swift use the same APIs they knew, but that it would be coded in Swift.
They have to do exactly what Apple did to pass from Objective C to Swift.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. Yeah. So it's a lot of work. But for Google, in the situation they are right now, with Oracle not being a good friend, they have to do something if they want to be still in the game for the future and not have like some stupid judge rule that, okay, now Google cannot use Java at all anymore starting like in 30 days. So
yeah. So their Swift is getting everywhere. Or it's getting around. They're talking about using it in the back end. We could use it in iOS apps, Android apps. It'd be weird to have one language rule them all.
Well, rule them all, maybe not, but,
no, but
it's good that the language
be applied
like,
everywhere.
Yeah, why not? And other languages can take learn from this and themselves evolve with some of the features or ideas from Swift. Today we learned something funny, which I was sure it was actually known by everyone. I think I even talked about it recently on the podcast. A few years ago, I remember the India government asking BlackBerry
you talked
for the master key. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, asking for the master key of the BlackBerry Messenger and whatever other BlackBerry encrypted stuff there is. And I was sure that they actually complied willingly and gave out the key to the Indian government. But today we learned that actually a few months after the request, we stopped hearing from them. So probably that's why I assumed that they complied. But today we learned that we had confirmation that Canada, India, and some more countries actually have the master keys. And that was actually used in recent terrorist attacks. So to be able to know exactly the planning of these attacks and be able to circumvent their plans. So, but now it's confirmed. The governments have the BlackBerry key. So what I'm wondering is, do the hackers also have the key? Or how long will it take before hackers actually get the same key in their hands and start to do bad things with that?
And also, does this create a precedent? And is it going to force Apple to hand over the keys the next time too? Or could this apply?
It could apply, but I don't think it's going to be as easy. BlackBerry is not in the same position that Apple is. So especially in 2010, the iPhone was like peaking quite high.
Yeah.
BlackBerry was crashing quite fast. so they could not they didn't have any. Yeah, they couldn't spend like millions just trying to find that. So basically, they just said, "Hush, hush, we don't talk about it."
Also, the bad press.
Wait a few months. Yeah, bad press. So hush, hush, we don't talk. Wait a few months, give the key, and then forget about it.
So this morning, Moto Trend came out with a nice Apple Car concept. So
nice.
You were nice. So you were calling it I liked it. It's just it can't be more clickbait.
Oh, it's awful. Seriously?
It almost looks like a car that we won't drive, just like a pod that's going to bring us around everywhere. And it's just awful.
It makes me think of the Homer Simpson car in The Simpsons. A car with everything that makes Apple what Apple is or was at the same time in the same car.
Yeah,
so like you said,
everything.
The pod is too futuristic. It does not even look like a car. But the worst thing is the lighting on the exterior is the same as the antenna bands on the iPhone, which makes no sense. Yeah. And that's lighting? No, for sure not.
There's a bunch of cues from the phones and all the other devices that they make.
Exactly. But the real worst thing is at the end of the article, there's like a gallery, and the first photo is an interior shot of the first two front seats. How can I describe that?
But there's a couple of things that be nice.
Well, yeah, okay. The on-screen, what do you call that?
The overlay there of the
the overlay on the windshield,
the head,
for the different
heads-up display.
Yeah, the HUD, that's pretty nice.
HUD.
But yeah, the HUD,
yeah.
But not the way they did it. They actually put like the GPS stuff like on the top of the windshield, like above your rear view mirror, which you would never look there
Where the
for
sun,
instructions.
there's a sun strip usually there. It's blue.
Yeah, exactly. So that's awful. The steering wheel is like a big home button.
The pedals,
Makes no
the
sense.
pedals. It's
The pedals are like pluses and minus
yeah.
buttons. Makes no sense. And the rest is like a big screen, and there's the iTunes Festival running there. So,
There's an Apple TV too on the dash.
oh yeah, of course, an Apple TV integrated in the car.
Yeah, and I don't know if you see, but on the driver door, there's like an iMessage logo. Well, a Messages app logo.
Yeah, exactly. And they say that the worst thing is that the title is Apple Car exclusive. Experts look at what could be a game changer. So these experts are actually ignoring all the laws currently in place, so that you cannot like use home entertainment systems while driving. So instead of being legit and do some legal stuff, they bombard you with screens everywhere and iTunes Festival playing while you're driving.
And they
Anyways,
spent a lot of money. They have pictures of like the prototype rooms. They made a clay model of the car. They have a bunch of pictures of iterations on the board, and I don't know what this is.
well, I can tell you for sure that first of all, head of vice president of design Johnny Hive always liked Bentleys, English cars, and other James Bonds like cars, which actually look like cars.
Nice cars.
Nice cars. Yeah. So that's for sure that the Apple car, if there's one in the works right now, will never look like a pod, or I don't know, something from Total Recall.
From Minority Report.
Yeah, exactly. So the shape will be of a car. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be like beautiful interior, modern, but not like too modern and too like minimalistic. Anyways, we'll probably see that in a few years if they ever ship one. But I'm sure the design will not be that crazy.
I almost can't believe that they're gonna ship a car.
I don't know. It's a pet project, like Tim Cook has the Apple Watch, and we heard a few rumors over the years that Johnny Ive wanted to go back to England and
Build a car.
maybe just quit Apple completely. So when you have a good employee and you want to keep him, what do? You keep him
Do whatever
interested?
you want.
Well, yeah, whatever you want, and maybe whatever you wanted was to make a car. So be it just a design, maybe have a partnership with some other company. But now in 2016, with Tesla doing so great with crazy cars, electric cars, why not try to do the same thing? They have battery technology, they have milling technologies for aluminum, so
Production technologies.
yeah, production, and they know how to take a bunch of parts and put them in a 75 million units production run. Yeah. So it can make sense, but that's not all there is to it. And if we are to believe the rumors we saw a few months ago, there's probably the execs who want a car very badly, but it's not as easy as they were expecting. So there's delays, there's problems, and there's probably some technology that they're missing to actually make a car. Tesla that was not built in like 3 months. It's something that took years, and Tesla hired like the best engineers and the best specialists in their fields, and that's a lot of time before the first car actually was driving in the roads. So if there's an Apple car, maybe in 2020, 2025, I don't know.
They need a lot of testing too.
Yeah, all the laws right now are pretty crazy. What an engine has to go through, what collision testings. So yeah, they have a lot to work on if they're actually building a car. We also had, since this month is April, Apple has another birthday cake to eat. It's their 40th anniversary.
A birthday cake to eat? That's what you choose?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about the new campus, and it was a big cake. So.
It's a spaceship, not a cake.
I know, but I'm hungry. So. Yeah, so for the 40th anniversary, I thought we could maybe just recall our first Mac or Apple experiences. Maybe not dwell too deep into the PC side of things, because that could take a while. but maybe just hop like, what's your first Mac? What's your first personal Mac? And so maybe very important things that happen around Macs in your life.
Okay, so my first Mac was in grade school. We used to have, I don't even know what it was. They were beige. We had those for a year, and like we came in the next year, and they changed the whole computer lab, and we had the nice Bondi blue, or Bondi blue, whatever the color is, iMacs G3s. So that was the first Mac, and then I think that was like a couple of years later, we started having iBooks, the clamshell ones there in the classes. iBooks, or yeah,
Yeah, iBooks.
yeah. We started having one of those in each class.
Yeah. Okay. For me, I'm a bit older than you, so the first Macs I actually worked on was in high school, and it was the HTML course, which was 50% HTML and 50% HyperCard. So it was kind of an introduction to computers slash programming slash the web, and that was all done on, I'm pretty sure it was a Mac Color Classic 2 or Performa 275. They were released like in 93, and for me that wasn't like in 97-ish, 98. So that, I don't recall exactly how the Mac looked, but it was a color screen and it was kind of a modern-ish shape. So looking at the low-end Mac website earlier this week, I was trying to find the exact model, which seems to be probably the Mac Color Classic. So that was the first Mac I used. We had fun with the HyperCard developing kit, if you want. We built a little adventure game, point and click style. So that was fun. The HTML I was already doing some HTML on my side during the summer before that year. So when the course came, I was actually better than the teacher. So I was helping him. So that was fun. But then after that computer, I haven't touched a Mac since like 2007. So all the Bondi Blue stuff we did not have. While I was in CJEP in college, we had I was in computer science, so we had all PCs, and there was one lab which had like the Bondi Blue Macs, but I never even opened one because it was not. I didn't have any courses in there. It was more like the design part of the school.
Yeah.
And the next Mac I was using was my wife purchased a MacBook Pro in 2007. It was a MacBook Pro 15-inch. But that really like triggered on me like, okay, these are like massively better computers than the Dells I had at work, which was like a piece of crap. So so that really opened my eyes that there was something better than just black cheap plastic making noise and being distorted like all the time. So
Okay, so after the iMac G3s at school, I was brainwashed at home that Apple was bad and Macintosh was bad. I had a pro PC mom, so she kept brainwashing us, telling they sucked and everything. So we had Windows at home, and I wasn't allowed.
was that a tactic so that she didn't have to buy you a Mac that was 3 times the price of a PC?
No, I don't know. I think, well, she says that she worked in like IT too. Well, she still does, and she was fixing a Mac, or someone at work had a Mac and it wasn't working, and she couldn't fix it, so she just got mad and said it sucked. And that's why we weren't allowed to talk about Apple at home. Okay. So I never had a Mac computer. The first thing I got was an iPod in, I think it was 2004. It was the 4th generation.
I totally skipped the iPod thing. I had a Zune. No, I had a Zune.
You were still in the Microsoft world.
Yeah, well, what happened is that I was that like 2007, 2008. Never had an iPod before that. I had a Discman. I had many Discmans, Shockwaves from Panasonics. I was more the CD type of guy, and for when I was moving around at home, I had all my CDs ripped on my computer, but never really was attracted by those devices. Didn't have any money for that either, so it was basically more of a like I was not even listening to music when I was like in in the bus or anything. It was basically just at work or at home. And then when this Zune came out, sometime when the small 8 gig Zune, which was kind of a iPod Nano ripoff, came out,
Yeah.
Microsoft had a program in Canada to hire, if you want, influencers and to talk about have a Zoom. They would give us Zooms, and we had to blog about those and share our experience.
So you jumped on the boat?
Yeah, that's when I actually realized that I could actually review some gadgets on my blog. So that's when I kind of redesigned my blog to be like more suited to reading and everything, and started reviewing gadgets with the first Zune. So the Zune 8 gigs, which was a small flash based one, and then I had a Zune 80 gigs, which was it's crazy because I opened it one time to change the hard disk, which was the small Panasonic 1.5 inch hard disks, and swap it for a compact flash card. And it's crazy how the interiors, looking at the guides on iFixit, it's exactly the same internals as an iPod, like third or fourth generations. So basically, like a few years after, Microsoft did the exact same thing as the iPod, using the same components basically, and just like rebranded it as a Zune. So that was quite surprising.
Okay, so I just looked it up. I had the fourth generation, sorry, the non-color one, the non-photo one. That was the first one. And then I had a fifth generation, the 30 gig, that would play video on, and I'd use it in the bus and everything.
It wasn't the YouTube version?
No.
The black and
No,
red?
I didn't get that one.
That was nice. That was the time that I actually
wanted to switch.
wanted to switch and started listening to the Steve Jobs keynotes and everything. The One More Thing, when the iPod Mini was announced, the iPod Nano and everything.
Yeah, when he took it out of his like change pocket in his jeans.
Yeah, exactly. These were the kind of the first conference I was listening to. I don't remember if they were actually broadcasting at that time.
No.
But basically, like once they were released, I was all on it.
Yeah, me too.
It was quite interesting to see the showmanship of Steve Jobs announcing new products.
So then after the iPod, the second one, the 5th gen, I got my mom to go run in an Apple store in the States to get me an iPhone in 2008 because it wasn't available here yet. I didn't even know if it worked. So when I got home, I just paid $400 or maybe a brick. I didn't know yet.
No jailbreak yet?
No, the jailbreak was there. I just didn't know if I could do it. So it was kind of stressful. It worked pretty easy. It was called Xiphone, the program.
Xiphone?
Yeah, that was the program that I used to jailbreak the phone and unlock it.
Okay.
And then iPhone, that was in 2008, and I only got my first Mac in 2011. A 13-inch.
So the first iPhone, I did not get it quickly like you. My friend Imran from Toronto actually had one. He went to the States, like your mom did, to get one. But after a while, he wasn't using it anymore. And he said, "Hey, your birthday is coming up, so what's your address? I'm going to send you something by mail." Okay. But when I opened the box, it was the iPhone first generation, 8 gigs. So that was quite a nice present, which I used for maybe less than a year because I ended up getting an iPhone 3G like from Canada. So basically, 2000, probably early 2000, end of 2007. So October, I got the iPhone 2G, and 2008, probably in the spring, I got the iPhone 3G. And then it was always iPhones from then on. No more MP3 players. And so, computer. My wife had a MacBook Pro in 2007. So I was already hooked on that. And then work, I still had like PCs. We use her laptop at home. And then it's MacBook Pros from the 2013 and up. So, and at work, the same thing. So basically, no more PCs in my life.
No, me neither. I didn't get the 3G or 3GS. The first other phone I had was the iPhone 4.
Okay.
So I skipped all those, the plastic ones.
Yeah.
But I got my girlfriend to buy a 3G at the time. So, I got her to switch, and I got her to buy a 11-inch MacBook Air that I use a lot. We still use it today too, in front of the TV. It's nice.
Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty nice computer. So.
And I still have my 2011 MacBook Pro. It's just not really working well.
Still working?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay, yeah.
It's not working. I just have to format the drive. Well, I think I have to format the drive. It won't boot anymore.
Yeah, or maybe the drive is failing, so you would just replace that for an SSD.
Yeah,
you'd be good to go.
But I have work computers that I use at home anyway, so I don't see the point right now of buying a PC. Well, a laptop.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. So that's a quick summary of our trip down memory lane for the Apple devices we owned or used over the course of our short lives. So eventually we'll probably delve back into the PC world of stuff, like the PCs we had, because like you, my dad was more of a PC kind of guy. He had the first 8088 computers and the basic. At the time when you did not get a diskette in your magazines, you actually had to look at the end of the magazine to have code listings and type the code by hand in the computer in order to run this software that they were providing. So
you mean you didn't have Stack Overflow?
Stack Overflow was not even a thing except when you were actually overflowing your stack.
Yeah.
But no, that was like 80. I would say like 87 maybe.
Okay.
So that was like very old. Yeah. Anyways, so we were more of a PC household. So for one other day, we'll discuss this part of our lives. On the apps corner this week, we had a well-awaited update for Infuse. I've been rocking Infuse 4.1 as a beta for a few weeks before the release, but didn't want to spoil the beans, so now it's released, so I can talk to you about it. The single feature that I was missing the most for Infuse was a way to differentiate between movies, TV shows that I've already watched, in order to be able to know, like in Netflix, like you watch a TV show, you have the red band that shows you that you've seen it completely. You know exactly what episode you're at. But Infuse did not have any features like that. So when you were loading like a 23 shows TV series, and you never really remember where you were like 2 weeks ago when you watched the last episode. So this update adds the little circle like you have on the iOS app that fills kind of like a pie for the amount of time you watch, and then transforms into a check marks when you're done. So that's I would say the most important feature for me personally. They also added HD audio, so if you have like a cinema, a home cinema, you can enjoy 7.1 channels of 24 bits lossless HD audio with DTS HD and Dolby True HD. So that's cool. And there's a dark mode also. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So I really love this one.
Yeah, you're
pretty
you're
nice.
Dark mode guy, you.
Yeah, everything is dark if I can.
There's also deep folder syncing. That's my favorite feature that they added. So you don't have to open every folder of your TV shows every season for it to go get the fan artwork and everything to make it nice and pretty.
Yeah, you just open the app, let it run like in the background for a few minutes, and when you look at it, it's already pre-sorted. You open your folders and it's already
everything
nice.
is all indexed and it's all good.
Yeah, because when I got the first version, I remember going
you have to open everything,
each folder. Yeah, exactly. And they also adopted the tvOS playback controls from the latest tvOS version, so that you have to click in order to swipe and go forward or backwards. So you don't just like touch the touchpad and then you lose your viewing position.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. And there's a bunch of little fix also. There's and for the iOS 4 version also, there's also the deep folder scanning. Support for DivX files. Last version, they removed the DivX support because the library they were using for decoding the DivX was very, very old, and or I think there was some kind of problem with it, so they just dropped it until they could find another one and test it fully. So now they found one, and so the support is back.
Do they sync the not play counts, but like the shows you played from your iPhone and on your Apple TV?
I did not try it. I would hope so.
There's no account. You don't have an account when you use Infuse, no?
there's a Tracked support. Tracked
Oh,
is
right.
a website
Right.
that tracking what you've seen
Okay.
in terms of movie or TV shows, but I don't think they track the time per se.
Okay.
But if, let's say, all your files are on your NAS and from your iOS device you stream from your NAS, I'm pretty sure that it's going to sync. If you've seen a movie on your TV and then you log in with your phone, and the same folder will probably show you as viewed. My usage is not the same. I use Infuse in the bus, so I basically hand copy every file I want through iTunes to the Infuse app, so it will never sync like that. Maybe in the future, like you say, if it starts using Tracked and know which TV shows I've seen, so perhaps it could do something like that, but it would need to get pretty much a lot smarter
Yeah.
to be able to do
Yeah.
that.
And some kind of syncing engine there.
Yeah, that would be required. Yes. So underscore David Smith, the man with multiple apps and with a big S, released a new iOS app this week called Activity Plus Plus. So for those of you who used Sleep Plus Plus, you kind of know that David has kind of a big interest into the health kit, the health stuff. Sorry, for iOS for this year. So after the sleep, now it's the activities. So this app basically, well, I'll let you talk about it. Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
you forgot there was also pedometer plus plus.
Oh yeah, true. Sorry,
That's the first
plus
one.
plus.
So he's into the plus plus apps now. So activity plus plus is basically, it replaces the stock activity app on your iPhone. So you get to see all your sleep, your stand ups, your exercise, and your calories. It's just displayed differently, and personally I find it a little bit better. It's easier to see your dashboard kind of view. Same thing on the watch. You have one face, you don't have to scroll, and you see all the information you need. It comes with a watch app as well, and all the complications. Well, a couple of choices of complications. They're all...
But no
the what?
No color one.
Yeah.
It's all gray.
Some people like it. I prefer the color. I find it easier to see which one is which.
Yeah, me too. But maybe in the future, I'm not sure he's gonna go for it, because right now on his blog post, he's pretty clear that that's something he chose not to do.
Yeah, he wants to go monochrome.
So we'll have to see. Also, one thing that he does in Activity Plus Plus is for every 7 days that go by,
the streak.
you're allowed to have one resting day. Which, let's say that you on your 7-day week, you did for 6 days, you managed to reach your goals, but the 7th day, like it's Sunday, you take it easy, you stay in bed, watch Netflix. Well, you won't get your goals, so he allows you to keep 1 day per week that will not affect your streak. So this way you can have like multiple days one per week, but 4 per month at most. That will not prevent you from breaking your streak. So if you say you have your moving goal for like 14 days, you could like miss a day and that won't be too bad.
Yeah,
so
it makes sense.
He realized that Apple was a bit too strict on that. And I kind of agree, because we don't necessarily have the same activities week and weekends. And let's say you go see your family, you're not gonna do your jogging or you won't go to the gym for that day. So it's easy to skip a day, and then you lost your progression.
It's actually good to skip a rest day.
Yeah, that's what they recommend.
Yeah.
So.
And also, since it's a plus app, it comes with confetti when you reach a goal.
Yes, the great confettis.
And there's also a really nice animation when you press on when you tap on one of the circles to see the details. Sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of a curve animation. Pretty nice,
Yes.
and he actually said that's the thing he's the most proud of in terms of his development skills. He's probably coded that like in OpenGL or. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
And he also I think the activity like API was only made available on 9.3. So he's kind of he's not known for that, but he likes to go to make apps that require APIs that are just released, and release the app as soon as the API is released. So he's betting a lot on that too.
Yeah, he did the same thing, I think, for Sleep++.
Yeah, as soon as the API was available, boom, the app
Yeah,
was
the
out.
app ships. Yeah.
So that's pretty nice too. He's always ahead of the game. And
Yeah, pretty nice stuff. There's another app update, AirMail, which is the mail client for iOS and macOS. They actually add a substantial iOS update that adds iPad Pro support and good sizing and everything. So that's a pretty good update there.
you use Airmail, I think it's your main mail client.
Yeah, both iOS and macOS. That's my main client. What I really like about it is the iCloud sync for any features or settings you have. So when they released the iOS version, I configured it on my iPhone perfectly. And when they finally got the iCloud sync set up for the settings, I just installed it on my Mac, and boom, all my accounts were there. So I just had to re-enter my passwords, and I was done. So
Okay, I still use the stock mail.app clients.
yeah.
I don't do email.
You don't do
Well,
email? Yeah, email. It's too
I
old for you.
I almost don't have any email.
Okay. So they added iPad support, keyboard support, read receipt, send later for Gmail and Exchange, smart folders, Touch ID, and a bunch more new features. So it's pretty great update, and it's also a free update. So if you already have AirMail for iOS, it's a free update. You probably already installed it. So, and this week for the gadgets and review corner, I actually have 3 reviews I did on Hipster Pixel. You can find in the show notes the links to the different articles. Basically, iPhone cases, an accessory for your iMac or your Thunderbolt display, and a hard drive dock to allow you to easily plug like 3.5-inch or 2.5-inch SATA discs on your computers via USB 3. So the first one is the Kodab the Kodab Veil or Veil XT cases. They're a bunch of colored cases from a manufacturer that really likes to do minimal stuff, meaning that it's very, very thin, very, very flexible. So it's for people who are looking for some protection for their iPhone, but not necessarily a drop protection, just something that it will just prevent the scratch. So the Veil is the model that leaves the bottom part of your iPhone where you have your lightning connectors and your 3.5 millimeters headphone jack open. And the XT1 is actually the whole coverage, including the bottom portion. So it's harder to put on. It's a bit harder to take off. Since it's very thin, I actually broke one of the units trying to take it off. So it's not for people who like to fiddle with their iPhone case all the time, like me. Just playing with a corner up, off and on, off and on, off and on. That's not a good.
It's not a good product.
Not a good. No, for that, no. For the protection it does it well. It's your iPhone won't be scratched with that kind of stuff. But for people like me who often drop their device, there's basically zero shock protection. So forget about that. They're working on a new version of a case with drop protection, by still keeping their minimal edge. It's called the Sheath. So that would be only 0.9 millimeters. It will be made of a gel-like material, so kind of a rubberish material. So that's what's cool. Do you have a case on your iPhone?
No case.
No case. So is that something that you would consider, like just a basic, like minimal plastic like that?
No.
No, never ever a case.
I don't think so. No.
Okay. And the other accessory, which is something that I stumbled upon quite by accident, is the Elago Pro Hanger. So basically, on my desk, what I usually have is I have my Thunderbolt display in front, resting on a elevation stand, and on my left, I have a Griffin laptop stand where I put my MacBook Pro. And one time I was wondering, is there a way for me to clean up my desk, like remove everything from my desk? So I was looking at solutions, maybe the Book Arc, which is kind of a support where you put your laptop vertically in there. So that was nice, but it was still on your desk. So I was looking for something else, and I stumbled upon this Pro Hanger accessory. So what is it? It's a kind of a hook that you insert in the hole where you put your cable through the monitor stand. You hook it there. It's made of aluminum and rubber, and you just place your iMac on that little shelf if you want. And when you plug it using Thunderbolt and the power, and you just hit your keyboard, your wireless keyboard or your wired keyboard, and it's gonna wake up from sleep. So basically, your computer is attached to the back of your display. So when from your sitting position, you don't see the computer at all. So it's basically vanished.
What's the cable management? What does it look like?
Well, that's the part that's a bit harder, as you might have guessed, but I did not realize at first is all the press shots you have, all the photos on the site, it's always like a Mac, and there's zero cable. So it's like magnificent. Like there's nothing. It's pretty. There's not a single thing. But in real life, you have two big gray cables going out of your monitor. So where do you put those? So I spent like half an hour trying different things. Put them through the hole at the back of the computer. Put them on the side, but then they you can see them from the front. So what I basically ended up doing is I still put them through the hole, but I've tightened them to be very close to the support, so that the computer rests solidly, but not perfectly straight. But I don't see it, so it's not a big problem. But like this way, I basically almost do not see the cables from the front. I see just a bit of the power cable and just a bit of the Thunderbolt cable. So it's not that bad. So it's not a perfect setup, but it's much better.
Is it's sturdy?
Yes, very. It was actually quite hard to install the rubber that grips on your Thunderbolt display stand.
It's very snug.
It's very, very snug, because I'm thinking that it's for both the iMac and the Thunderbolt display. So probably
not exactly the same size. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So probably for the Thunderbolt display is probably like, since it's an older model, it's probably thicker, so that's why it's harder to put. On an iMac probably it will be easier, but it's very snug. Like to remove it, I need like to apply major force. Yeah. So basically, yeah, that's a new company I didn't know about. So Elago, they make a bunch of other accessories. Like there's an Apple Watch dock. That's basically just like a rubber dome kind of thing, similar to what the Elevation Labs do with the watch dock. So I'm going to try to get this one next. There's even like the Wiimotes for the Nintendo Wii.
Yep.
They have like a silicone case so that you don't throw your remote on the wall. They make something similar for the Apple Siri remote for the Apple TV. So it also gives you like a weight on each end, so it better rests on in your hand. So I'll probably get this one too eventually, just to see if it's a good solution to the problem of not knowing which side the remote comes, and when you pick it up, you know how to aim it or where to click. So that's something I'm going to probably try eventually. The third device I tested this week, actually it's not on live on the site yet at the moment we're recording, but it's going to be in the next few days. So it's the Thermaltake USB 3.0 HDD dock. So it's a dock that you plug in your computer via USB 3. So it's a very fast dock, compatible with SATA 1, 2, and 3, and compatible with 2.5 inches hard disk, which is a big hard drive from NASA's or from desktop computers, or the small 2.5 inch hard drives. What this does is basically it allows you to quickly access your data. So if you have data on another computer you want to transfer, you can use that and use USB 3.0 speeds to transfer your data. So much faster than via USB or some other, or using the network. So, and also you can use the smaller, the big disk. So that's perfect for transferring or copying or cloning disks. So if you're the kind of person that does super duper clones of your hard drives, could be very useful for that. It's pretty well made. It's pretty sturdy. There's even like a button you have to press that raises the disc like a Super Nintendo cartridge. So, and no, you don't need to blow on those to make it work. It works fine.
And it's good. It's good for old drives that you have just laying around. You can use them as external drives now, easily.
Yeah, exactly. I basically use it mostly to format drives with single pass zero bits because I have old drive I want to sell. So that was much faster than going USB 2 and waiting like 38 hours for a 2 terabyte disk. Now it's about 6 or 7 hours, so it's much faster.
I think that's it for this week.
Yeah. One little thing, I added the RGB on Google Play Podcast. So those of you who are on Android and are lucky enough to be in the first few who already have the Google Play Podcast, you can probably already find the show on Google Play. So I don't really know where to go or how to click. So it's probably just do a search from the app and you'll find it. Also, I am experimenting something special in Telegram, the encrypted communication apps. They added new features recently, like basically channels were already there. So I added one for Ipsopixel where I'm going to post our links to different articles and probably some more links that I've discovered that I want to share. And also they have a little bot that you can create with different actions. So I started playing with that in the bus earlier today. So basically it's going to be like get latest articles, go to Twitter, stuff like that. So a bunch of little actions that you can tap and the bot will reply and give you information on the site or a link to the site. So the latest reviews, the latest news, for example. So I have to experiment to see exactly what I can do. So that's something else. So basically, look on our Twitter feed. There's going to be links for Telegram. And that's basically it for today. Cool. So you can find the show notes at hipsterpixel.co/RGB/6. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm Vallier, VALLIERES.
I'm Tyler Menard, TYLERMENARD. I can't get my name right.
Well, one on two, you can get it.
Yeah. Have a nice week.
Have a nice week, you too.